Inclusive teaching, supporting all students in the college classroom. Changing landscape of higher education.
Questions around inclusive teaching, at least when I started to read the higher ed literature on it, a lot of the questions around inclusive teaching were mostly driven by inequities in attrition and retention, especially again with this laser focus on disenfranchised groups. I'm glad that people were spurred to action in response to that, but certainly the field has to mature a bit on what it really means to be inclusive and what equity in access means. But I think there's also a bigger question that we have yet to really figure out the answer to. And it's going to be interesting how this unfolds. So I teach a web-enhanced model. Students do watch lectures before class. They're short because I'm considerate of their time. But all of the learning outcomes in my intro bio class, I can find a very good lecture on it online for free. That's no money, no tuition. Right? And I actually even tell them first day of class that, like, essentially your whole class, for the most part, you could just go to YouTube and have somebody tell it to you. Very well done, Professor Bozeman, Khan Academy, very well done for free. So why then are you paying us tuition to physically be here? Why am I going to just come here and repeat the same thing you can watch on YouTube, right? So part of that is that most students haven't figured out the rules, right? there's still sort of a belief that I need a lettered individual to come in class in their regal attire to tell me how the DNA molecule works. But at some point, both the rules will be up because they'll figure out that you can access these services at less to no cost. And I'm surprised at how many of my colleagues are naive to this possibility. I'm surprised at how many of us still hold on to this idea that our decade of training is what's required to come in and deliver content. And I'm a little concerned that when this technology becomes fully disruptive, we'll be left with our hands in the air figuring out, why are we asking students to physically show up in a classroom? And it's a bit of a scary thought, but if you want to take a glass half full approach to it, it probably really should have been a question we were asking ourselves all the time. We're just now being forced to do it, right? And when you really think about that question, what are the things that you can do in 50 minutes, 3 times a week, right, that you can't replicate in an online environment, or at least it would take a different form? Now you get at, how do you work with somebody who's different? Now you get at, what is the value of human interaction face-to-face, right? So Sherry Turkle has a wonderful book called Alone Together, where she's been studying this for decades and really kind of gets at that. And in terms of getting on a journey, I would ask instructors and administrators to read those kinds of books, because that's where our value as an institution of higher ed is really going to be, right? What is happening in that physical space? It's going to have to be different, and I think we have yet to fully embrace and understand that. But it will be a radically different type of classroom when we do.